Montara Water and Sanitary District to order. It is October 3rd and it is 7:32. Roll call, please.
Director Champion.
Present.
Director Young.
I'm present.
Director Slater Carter.
Here.
And Director Sofkey here. And Director Boyd is not in attendance tonight.
And I'm going to read a president's statement. Public
Recording
comment.
in progress.
Oh, okay. We just called the meeting to order for October 3rd. We had a roll call and everyone is here except Director Boyd, who is not. And now we're at public comment. Public comment is available so the public may respectfully address the board and district staff. District staff have sometimes been able to respond to comments. However, given several Seal Cove property owners have filed claims against the district, the board will only receive public comment, but not respond to any questions or statements on this topic. Thank you. And moving right along then, oral comments, these are for items other than those on the agenda. And I know we've got one speaker outside. Andrew, did you want to speak on an agenda item or on a oral comment?
Comment.
Come on in then.
Bullhorn out. All around the room.
We're official. Oh no, my back's to the camera. So I guess I'll read. I just heard your statement, so I'll read you all have a conversation. Yeah. So in Boston.
We should turn so she can get you too.
Ah,
There you
okay.
go.
Hello, everyone. I'm still Andrew Boston. I still live in Seal Cove. Hi, Leah. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So we have another spill. You know the drill. It all feels familiar. This time it's not my house. So that's exciting for me, at least. The most troubling part isn't really the spills, though. It's the response. Instead of mobilizing repairs, the general manager, told the homeowner to fix it themselves or call a plumber. Call a plumber is the phrase. That's the same phrase we got last time. Instead of allowing Sam to help, the only agency with expertise to fix this system, the district told them they will not be reimbursed. And and the call a plumber thing is a little concerning from experience 4 months ago, because as we've discussed, no plumber will touch this infrastructure because they consider it public and they just simply won't take the risk. So the result is exactly what residents warned about in April: weeks-long spills, entirely preventable, continuing because of finger pointing about an ordinance from ancient history. So let's be honest, ordinances aren't handed down on stone tablets on top of Montara Mountain by God. They are created in this room, and they are only legitimate if the process is done properly, with resolutions, public notice, CEQA filings, and deed and title restrictions. That doesn't appear to have happened. If this was done properly, there would be a deed and title restriction on the property, and you could bill the homeowner directly, but there isn't, and you can't. And I think that's the problem with the ancient history theory here. I'd love to see the documents you have, but based on the 1985 copies of the Half Moon Bay Review, which we were able to find, it says otherwise. I'm expecting to find missing CEQA documents in the crossword section and title and deed restrictions under help wanted. Again, that's ancient history because it's 2025. And it doesn't look like we filed CEQA filings again after saying the cost of maintaining the system was, quote, no longer feasible. Walking away from 40 years of maintenance on a cost basis is clearly discretionary, not ministerial. But according to the recorder's office, you haven't yet filed a CEQA filing. So probably because they would not have approved it 40 years ago, and they definitely aren't going to approve it today. And so these spills are regular and predictable, and abandoning them now, it's not just CEQA, but it also might require federal and state permits, Water Board, Regional Water Quality Board, even Coastal Commission if marine waters are impacted, and I think they are. So instead of saving money, we've escalated the liability. Sadly, I've had to find my records elsewhere, despite asking here. You kind of get a standard legal runaround, like the term recent is vague, which my day job, I've worked with lawyers. I know the runaround when I see it.
Okay,
And-
we're getting to the, on to 4
Thank you.
minutes, so.
Thank you. And but the recorder's office and Sam have been very helpful with the exact same requests. So that's been good. So this isn't really about one week or even one neighborhood, it's just about accountability and following the law. A sanitary district exists to protect public health, not to consult lawyers while sewage flows in the street and actively stop the only people who can help from helping.
Okay, it's time to wrap it up. We're over.
All right, this is all I got. That's my last joke. All we want is working pipes, not to become participants in Montara's longest running performance art piece, Raw Sewage Flows into the Ocean. Tickets are free, but the smell isn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else in the anteroom who wants to speak?
Somebody had their hand up, but Nancy, I'm sorry.
I see that I have some hands up.
There's-
Okay, so my glasses on so I can read. Lana Witt.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Oh, why is there an
Mhm.
echo?
So I'll give you 3 minutes, because I don't see any other hands. So let's go for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know why there's an echo.
Not too bad.
We don't have.
Okay. So I read on your website your mission, vision, and values statements. I totally agree with your mission, vision, and values statement. They're beautifully written and they are certainly what we in the community need. Like to be good stewards of the environment, to give us high quality water, wastewater, and trash services, to ensure environmental vitality. That's your mission statement. Your values statement, I totally agree with. To be trusted by the community, to represent and serve the community, to be responsive to the community and our needs, to be open and available to the public that you serve. So thank you for that statement. What I want to say is that we need guidance on these sewer leaks. This is the second one that I've experienced in the last few months. I live on the same street as Andrew and the current leak. I understand that it's a financial issue, that you can't pay Sam, but we need guidance. The current property owner has had at least 4 different plumbing companies on site, and they've said, we don't know what to do, or we can't touch it. So we need guidance. You are the experts. We are not experts in sewer management. And as long as this continues, it is a true public health hazard. Contaminated water can be carried on shoes, bicycles, pets, and taken to other households. You've got infectious bacteria and viruses being spread. So we need guidance as to who to call, who can fix it, who can diagnose the problem. I've also asked in writing to your contact information. I need to know which houses are not serviced by SAM. At the SAM meeting yesterday, there was discussion. Is it all the homes in Seal Cove or just some homes in Seal Cove? It was not clear between one of your directors and one of the neighbors as to which homes are not serviced by SAM. So I've asked for a written list of homes. I need to know whether my home is serviced or not. And then secondly, what I've asked for is what was the discussion behind which homes, if it's not everybody, are not serviced by SAM anymore? How was that discussion carried out? Where are the minutes of that discussion? And how was it decided? Is there a scientific basis, a technical basis, a cost basis to say certain homes are no longer serviced by SAM? So those are my two requests. The list of homes that are no longer serviced by SAM, I want it in writing. And secondly, how was that decided? Which homes are no longer serviced? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking.
Thank you.
I believe, do we have, sorry. I'm looking for hands. I don't see any. Okay, thank you, Allison. We will close the public hearing then and move on. Do we have public comment from the board?
I would just like to say that I think for people that are selling their homes and anybody that lives there and isn't sure, we should give a clarification by street address and not just the map that was sent out to all the homeowners. Because
Thank you.
that one is, it's kind of a liability if you're selling your house or if you don't know if you have a sewer, a home that's on a grinder pump, or I think it's only the 31 homes in Seal Cove plus the distillery that are on grinder pumps, but since I don't even know and I live there, I think it would be great if the district would put out a list with addresses.
I
For
think people can come
clarification.
to the general manager.
Yeah,
So there's certainly privacy things that we have to deal with too. So going from that to consent agenda, we have 10 items. Approve the minutes for the regular meeting of September 18, 2025.
So moved.
Approve the financial statement. I'm gonna finish reading the list.
Oh, yeah, the whole list. Okay.
Approve the financial statements for August 2025. Approve the warrants for October 1st, 2025. The SAM flow report, the monthly review of the current investment portfolio, connection permit applications received, monthly water production report. And if you read that, something that's important to note is the water is produced as it is needed. So it just is showing you, it's more like a demand curve than anything else. It's not a capability or capacity curve.
Thank you.
The connection permit applications received, monthly water protection, rain report, monthly solar energy report. Those units are down and we've got to figure out what are not functioning. They're very old, so we've got to figure out what to do with them. And monthly public agency retirement service report for July 2025. I have a motion from Sid and a second from Bill. Let's have a roll call vote.
Director Champion.
Aye.
Director Young.
Aye.
Director Slater Carter.
Yes.
Director Softly. Aye.
Good. Now we are moving on to old business, of which there is none. And now we're into new business. Review and possible action concerning MWSD online document accessibility.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm excited to present this item, even though it's hurting a little bit for us. There's really two topics that we're bringing up here. One of them is the introduction that we're actually switching to a different web address, and with that, we're changing slightly changing the structure of the website. That's been handled through Martin Rausch's office, our webmaster, so on. And he's going to continue working on that website with us, but Streamline is providing the platform. We have Tyler Gordon with Streamline here, so I thought that would be also something that good to announce in this process. So very soon we'll switch over to just a little different website with some new pictures and a new format. It's essentially the same, and it's going to be the same information that's currently on there. The second topic is really a very important one, and that is the compliance with laws that require us to convert all documents in specific formats that can be accessed by anyone. Unfortunately, that is a service that is going to cost us some money. So I would like to ask Taylor to give the presentation essentially about both items here. Our recommendation is then to authorize the general manager to sign the attached agreement with Streamline for continued guarantee of compliance with accessibility requirements. Taylor, if you want to take it from here, please.
Yes, I
And-
will. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. Thank you so much, Clemens. Really appreciate it. Just to introduce myself, my name is Taylor. Like Clemens was saying, I've been with Streamline for a long time. Board, thank you for letting me present. We love our California districts and agencies. We've been trusted for a long time. I'm going to share my screen here so we can see that. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Now, this is our main website. I just want to say Streamline's been the #1 website platform for special districts and agencies for a long time. Marin Roach, we absolutely love him. He is your web master, making edits and all details. He knows the agency very well. And Clemens, they're still finalizing the details on the website. It's going to be great, amazing, but a big piece is it being compliant, especially for California. Now, we just launched a new tool called Doc Access this July, and that's what Clemens was mentioning about getting documents ADA compliant. If anybody has worked in the PDF accessibility industry, they will know that getting PDF or just documents in general accessible is a really, really difficult task. And I'm just going to go over it really briefly. I've attended a lot of board meetings. I know they're long and tedious, so I like keeping things short, sweet, to the point. But I like showing just a little bit of a video to get everybody on the same page, be able to explain the context of this tool. And then I'll go into exactly what it's doing and how we came up with the cost here. But this demonstration here, we're not going to watch or hear the whole thing, but this is just a quick demonstration of a visual impaired person using a screen reader. And when I'm saying the term accessibility, this is the biggest population that we're typically talking about here. So just to show the video really quickly, this is Jason Holt. He has a fully blind impairment here. He uses a pretty common screen reader called the JAWS software. Here now, like most visual impaired users, they navigate a lot of the world in an auditory way, and that's what the screen reader is doing, is reading digital content back to him. With this JAWS software, they don't use a mouse, right? They can't see the pointer, so they use a keyboard to tab through. Now, what Streamline's done, if I fast forward here, we can see how the screen reader works just a little better and get the idea here. As Jason is tabbing through on his keyboard here, it goes to different sections on the website, and the speaker auditorily reads back to the information. Now, the website that Clemens and Marin Roach are putting together is fully accessible, so these screen readers can read them properly. In other words, we want to make sure these screen readers don't read the bottom to the top first. Every picture has an alternate text. There's a lot of intricate details that go inside of there. Now, the tricky part has always been when these screen readers move over to the PDF documents. Screen readers typically like website HTML, but when they move over to PDF documents, they are not website HTML. And basically, it's almost been impossible for the visual impaired community to read these PDFs. Recently, there's been more legal rising issues, particularly California, Colorado, Florida, and New York. This is why Streamline has made the initiative to move on these states first to try to implement Doc Access as quickly as possible. What Doc Access does, this is the tool here. You can visit the website at docaccess.com. The great news with this tool, it is very on brand here with Streamline. Once we plug in Doc Access to your website, it will make all your PDF documents, website documents accessible here in compliance with California and the federal mandates, getting everything WCAG 2.0 compliant here. On the packet I provided, it goes over those in details. The biggest legal requirement that's hitting California lately is the UNRRA Civil Rights Act. Essentially, attorneys have been leveraging this one to file expensive lawsuits. We want to make sure we prevent that. Now, just to show you really briefly how this tool is doing this, I have a couple examples here, not going to go over all of them. But this is an example document I like to show here. This is a scanned in document. Many districts and agencies have to do these. This is an annexation property attainment by a district here. Now, if this document was opened without doc access plugged in, this is kind of the PDF view that we're used to seeing, right? This is normally how it's viewed. We can download, see the different sizes. With doc access plugged in, it's pretty much the same view, but as you can see here, there is a little extra going on and a little extra tools. Essentially how it works here, if Jason came on with this screen reader here, he would auditorily hear, do you want accessible transcript view? You basically would hit enter here, and it's going to take all the documents on the website, but when they open up the viewer from a PDF format to readable, accessible website HTML. Now these PDFs are readable with the screen reader. Not only can we get them accessible, but the great news is, particularly in California, most agencies have to comply with the Brown Act, which is also, they're going to start asking for language translation. This will come out in a couple of years here. The great news is this kills two birds with one stone here. Not only can we make it accessible content, we can actually convert all your documents into many different languages here. So we can get it accessible, translate it, and then last but not least here, we did have to take it a step further. When comes to big documents like this, we get a lot of feedback from this community, and they told us they need a little bit more. A visual impaired community, even though this is a beautiful document, and we can basically turn it into the accessible transcribe view. Here, let me turn this back into English really quickly here. There we go. The visual impaired community, they just need to hear it properly. They don't necessarily care what it looks like, which we can totally do here. But with a 93-page document, it is like listening to a really long audiobook. And also, if we come to graphics and maps and diagrams, just like these ones here, like a graph or map like this, or a map or something like this, trying to understand a visual graphic in an auditory way is very difficult. It would be like me asking everyone on this call to close their eyes and me try to describe this map to you in an auditory way. We'd have a really hard time understanding it. So what Streamline's done, we made an IRA connection. The visual impaired community told us if we could have a conversation about these graphics and large documents, that would solve the problem for them. This is what enables to do. IRA has been helping the blind and low vision community for a long time. Bottom line is you can basically, a visual impaired person can come on and get a 24/7 on-demand connection with the visual interpreter through IRA. That way these graphs and maps are very easy to navigate, as well as long documents are no longer audiobooks. So that's how the tool works. That's pretty much the full summary. Summarize it here. To dive into costs, the traditional market rate for getting documents accessible are typically anywhere from $5 to $15 per page. Streamline did had a previous connection doing $7 a page. Doc Access gets it down for pennies per page per month. This is based off your total page count, not your total documents. So we're retranscribing all the pages in there. The service agreement, I believe Clemens came up, spells it out well here. Essentially, you can see the full scope. There's about 632 public-facing documents, approximately about 30K pages here. Now, traditional methods remediation at the $7 a page would have cost 210K, or yeah, 210K, which is a really nice down payment on a house. No one really has that here. Or it would take the staff 125 weeks of dedicated staff time, 40 hours a week, to get these documents accessible. That is 2.5 years. And again, that was always the tension our agencies were facing. This was either really expensive or too time consuming. Because we're in the 30K pages here, this will put us into the pro plan here. And then we go to the 30K pages here, which is 1,200 per month here. With that, there is 10K indemnification. The good news about the pro package is this is indemnity. Streamline indemnifies the website, but this allows us to indemnify the documents, which basically means if there's any lawsuit, court costs. We handle all court cost communications, lawsuits coming your way. We always highly recommend this for California, and that will get all of your documents accessible from there. That pretty much summarizes the presentation here. Any questions on what I covered or anything popping up here? Would love to answer them.
I have a question. Does this go back through our archives or is this just going forward per month? On documents we create as we go along?
Great question there. So great news for both of those. It's going after public facing documents. So if you take stuff out of the archive and put it publicly, the way the law plays out is basically any public facing documents need to be accessible for a screen reader right away for it. Now, I'll finish it with this. Future, let's say you're at the 30K document pages and you start posting more documents, right? We used to have what we call page anxiety of like, what happens if we put more documents? Will we go up a tier here? The good news with this agreement, basically we're giving you an unlimited or 200% inventory. You can post as many documents as you would like, and then it continues to then the inventory continues to go up. So basically, if you go above this range, you'll still be at the 1200 price here, but you have an inventory of 40K pages. This will increase every year as you're on Doc Access here, essentially providing you unlimited ability to post and keep things transparent throughout there. Does that answer the question or did I miss it there?
No, I was asking about our back documents. Not sure I understood what you said about previous documents.
Yeah, so when you're saying back documents like archived, Doc Access will cover the public facing ones. Are the archived ones public facing or are they just like in a drive or in the website? I need some clarification there.
I think what she's talking about is when some of us go through like looking for old minutes, they're not on the website. And so I think since they're not on the website, they're not accessible until we put them on the website.
Yeah, and also I've heard through the grapevine that there's some PRA requests that aren't being fulfilled. So I'm assuming that's for back documents they're asking for. So I don't know, but if that's gonna help our district access them, then we won't have to do the work if it's public facing. I guess when you say public facing, what do you mean? A non-private document? Or just that we put it out there?
Yeah, public facing is anything on the website, live on the internet. We could typically, anything that's archived, there is some documents, right? Public records requests for old documents previously that don't necessarily need to be there. But sometimes if you want to put that one forward onto the website, Doc Access will cover it once it comes onto it to make it accessible so you can publicly post it on there.
Bill?
I think I saw you guys at CSDA a couple months ago in Monterey. Because I remember being interested in PDF accessibility and other technical geekery like that. So my questions are about the technology. Since I was a user interface person for a long time and have very strong and pretty well informed opinions. So the last piece first, it sounds like the key to making pretty much everything accessible to blind people is that you have a human in the loop. Worst comes to worst, they can press a button and talk to a live person who can talk them through a map or some other thing that you just couldn't ever expect the technology. Did I get it roughly right?
Not roughly. So talking to the visual impaired community, it's really fun. They come into the office. There's some documents they want to basically have transcribed, and they can't read it unless it's in the WCAG 2.1 AA code, right? It basically tells the screen reader where to go, right? Some documents they like being able to read, listen to, right? They're much more auditorily. It was actually hilarious. We did a call with one on actually doing a demonstration. The speed at which they have retention with auditory information, it was going so fast, we had to ask them to slow it down 4 different times. It was pretty powerful. So they use these screen readers really, really well, especially if it's the right reading order. And they actually like a piece of that. Now, basically IRA connection was more for the harder stuff like graphs and maps, no matter how
That's what I was
fast.
talking about. That's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for the graphs and maps, absolutely. It's just building that bridge where there was just a little bit more needed there for it to be able to do that. But for most content that's pretty basic, they can navigate it pretty well for that.
Good.
So
So that confirms my hunch that you have the very good judgment of keeping a human in the loop rather than trusting that your technology will do absolutely everything. And that's clearly a cost worth bearing. But what I'm hoping is you have that same kind of intuitive sense of clarity and simplicity for the website redesign for all the sighted people who view the ordinary website. Because I found the existing one to be needlessly visually complex. And I'm hoping that if you understand how to communicate graphical information to visually impaired people, I have a deep respect for that. And I hope that's what we get to have.
you'll absolutely get that. And that's why our name is Streamline. We want to streamline it for you. So absolutely.
Are you done?
Yep.
Leah, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the audience then. Michelle Dragony. Michelle?
Hi. Yeah. I was just I run this news website called Coastside Buzz. You can check it out. And I have a lot of Montara Water and Sanitary District documents linked to on my website. The Sewer Authority website, when they redid their website, they screwed up all the URLs. So I have a lot of 404s historically. So I'm just hoping that you don't do the same thing and that you're careful with your URLs so that they are consistent. I just redid my website. It's massive, and my URLs are still good for other people's websites. So I'm just requesting that, please. Thank you. Otherwise, I think this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for that comment. The URLs should be good for it. And I know Mary Roach in our basically implementation manager, if you mentioned that too, to ensure it. The good news about doc access too, that I'll say just on that, let's say the sanitary district created a document and another agency posted it on their website. There is a way to get that URL for the document on theirs and doc access to cover it. Because the original owners was the Monterey Sanitary District, they would have accessible documents on other people's websites using doc access as well, which is pretty powerful to be able to do that.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions?
It's not a question, but there's another really good resource on the coast side called the Mid-Coast Community Council, and they have documents that go way back. You can find groundwater studies and the drainage map for the whole from Half Moon Bay up to here, that kind of thing. So I hope that those will all connect too. So the person that created that website passed away.
They don't have any money.
Yeah.
I know they don't have any money. I'm just saying, hopefully the URL thing that Michelle brought up, hopefully that won't screw up their document.
Okay, we have a motion.
I move that we invite Clemens to proceed with installing this.
Would that be to
Yes, I
read?
forgot how it was phrased, but to adopt the recommendation that we proceed with this transaction.
Okay, do we have a second?
I said,
So it's
Thank you, Leah. We have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Director Lear,
I,
Director Chamberlain, sorry. Director Young,
It's how much a month again? 210? Oh,
1,200.
Okay. I vote yes.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes,
Director Softy,
Yes.
motion carries. Moving on to item 2 under new business, review and possible action concerning the review of Ecology 2006 solid waste rate increases.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. So this is a standard item that we have every year around this time. We have a franchise agreement with Ecology. And that requires us to every year look if the rates need adjusting. And there is 2 years of index-based calculations that we're using to do that. And then that's followed by 1 year of cost-based calculations. And so that occurs every third year. So before we do this, we actually ask RVE Accounting, our accountant Peter Medina, to review the ecology map and tell us what he's seeing in it. And the contract this year, the contract exceeds, or the request from ecology exceeds 6%, as in the prior years. But our contract has a cap of 6% maximum increases, annual increases. So we are essentially certain that we are arriving at the requested that we can request a 6% rate increase of the solid waste rates for the year 2026. So we're talking about calendar year in this case. And so here we are asking to receive the report from RVE Accounting that is letting us know what Peter is seeing in the numbers that the college is providing. And we also ask for authorization to send a Prop 218 notice to announce a public hearing for December 4, 2025, at which we would then set the new rates for 2026. Peter, if you can let us know what your report tells you.
Oh, you is it standard item. I as Clemens just to explain. I have there's a set parameter of procedures that are put in place just to make sure that their Exhibit E is prepared accurately, go independently, and basically go in and make sure that all the CPI increases that are proposed are accurate. The math is accurate. There aren't major formula errors, going through and really just checking all these items. And if I find any issues with the way that the logic is applied, I go back to the ecology staff. So I said, going through that process, going and say, okay, yes, we are over. They've capped it at 6%. And then really said, that's really what the report says, is that I've followed these procedures, and I agree with their 6% increase.
Thank you. Discussion from the board.
I'm just curious, so in some sense, we're getting a deal because they've got reasonable evidence that their costs went up by what, 16%. We only have to pay 6%, which means they're in some sense eating a 10% loss this year, possibly. And if it doesn't reset till 2027, are we going to suddenly have to pay for all of the difference? That 10% per year, 25, 26, 27, then finally have like a 50% increase or something? What happens to that 10% difference? Because we don't want them to go out of business either.
So, I mean, at one point, there needs to be a negotiation happening. And the question is, are we approaching Recology at a point, or is Recology approaching us? As Peter explained, we have still quite a number of years that allow us to continue under the 6% cap. And I mean, we don't expect, well, in prior years, let me say it this way, it was clearly below 6%. So during the runtime of the contract, yeah, the 10% could actually go down. Right, so I don't necessarily see a reason to approach Recology at this point, because again, we have a 10-year contract with them. I expect that clearly at least a year before the contract runs out, we will have to start negotiations with Recology. But in what situation we will be then is undetermined today.
So my takeaway is that this rather dramatic increase this year is part of a reasonable cycle of fluctuations that we've seen before. We might as well wait till it runs out and figure out what to do when we see those.
what is included in this year is essentially when we've reached the cap, I believe 3 years ago, it went over the cap. So what you're seeing is it's every year we carry this excess over, right? So as long as
Oh, okay.
the cost recology calculation results in a higher than 6%, we're adding to that every year, right? As in the other scenario, if it would be lower than 6% in a given year, next year we may still see something that is higher than 6%, but it may not be the 16%
Okay.
at which we are currently.
Okay, makes sense.
Leah? No questions, Sid?
It eventually, when we play catch up on those rates, the ratepayers will get an increase, right? Basically,
They're getting an increase this year.
I mean, later,
Yeah.
if it's only a 6% increase this year when the recology was 16%, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yeah. I helped negotiate that contract, and essentially what we're doing is cutting off the highs and
Yeah.
filling the lows.
That's what it sounds like.
So that it's a,
Good.
when I started on this board, Recology had not given this district, out of the kindness of its heart, actually, it was very generous, for about 7 or 8 years. But then it really was in financial trouble, and it really did need to have a rate increase, and so it had been going along flat, and then it went up all of a sudden.
Okay,
And
now we have a plan.
I
to
said, what we need to do is raise it on average with inflation every year. And instead of having it swing wildly,
Mhm.
we need to balance
Yeah.
out these highs and lows.
I get the algorithm, makes perfect sense.
So, do we have a motion?
So my
to-
question was, eventually the ratepayers will end up getting the increase, even though we're keeping it a flat rate
No,
of
it's,
6%.
it's fair across the years. They will pay for what services they use and what,
What we negotiate.
and what services they use and what the cost of service is. Some years we may pay more than what it has cost Recology, but other years like this year, we're paying less. And so it evens out to a flat.
Net, it sounds like the ratepayers are going to pay pretty much inflation over these years.
And it's the fairest way to the
Yep.
ratepayers so they can balance their budgeting and their expectations.
But I did notice on the documents that came on the agenda that there's, people are hard pressed, you can drop down your size of your bin. I I don't even fill up more than one Trader Joe's bag per gray bin or blue bin, so I'm on the smallest bin, but that giant recycled blue bin, I never fill it ever. So at least there's an option to take the little gray bin, the smallest one.
Yep. Yes,
Move to approve this?
to remove the receive
Yes, and upon the action of,
the suggested rate.
yes, exactly.
Rate increase and associated information, and authorize the general manager to send a Prop 218 notice, so everybody's gonna be getting one of these in the mail. For a hearing on December 4th, 2025. Roll call, do I have a second?
I second.
Second from Sid. Do we have let's have a roll call vote.
Director Champion,
Aye.
Director Young,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Softy.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now, we have one, number 3, where Sid is going to have to recuse herself.
I'm not gonna
But
leave the room, I'll just stay here. But I'd like to make a statement before you.
Christine, could you speak to that?
Yes, the procedure is, certainly, Director Young may speak to the item after presentation by, Clemens, of the item, but then she must recuse herself, during the deliberation and vote. And I recommend she leave the dais and leave the room for that part of it.
Okay, what I was thinking about doing, so she could be part of it, was rearranging the agenda so we could give quick reports. I don't think there are any.
I have one, but that's fine.
a report.
Yeah, let's just stay on this. This is
Okay.
agenda item 3, so.
Okay, let's move on
There we
to
are.
agenda item 3 then. Clemens, would you?
Yeah, so we're talking about review and possible action concerning request for expense reimbursement, policy deviation. So district policy requires that all requests for reimbursements of expenses incurred in the performance of official duties obtain pre-approval from the general manager. The policy applies to all district board members, officers, and personnel and provides reimbursement for actual and necessary expenses related to travel and other expenditures. Directors and employees have no independent spending authority, nor are such expenses included in the district's annual budget. This policy complies with Government Code 53232.2. And that means it maintains budgetary control and ensures equitable treatment of district directors and employees. And that public funds are spent only in compliance with law and district policy. Director Young has requested reimbursement of certain expenses for attendance at an educational conference without pre-approval by the manager. Attached is the expense report of the requested expenditures incurred by Director Young for her attendance at the annual CSDA conference that was in August in Monterey. Per district policy, such expenses are approved by the general manager prior to the conference date, and attendance is arranged through the university office. Director Young enrolled in the conference at her own initiative and made her own travel and lodging arrangements without manager pre-approval. She thereafter submitted receipts and requested reimbursement. As with all new board members, Director Young was providing all district policies at the time of her appointment to the board. The board, as the governing body, has the authority to approve or deny the request. Moreover, because the board's decision concerns a direct financial interest of Director Young, she may present her request to the board. But she should not deliberate or vote on her own reimbursement under state conflict of interest laws. Therefore, Director Young should recuse from the board's deliberation and vote on the matter. So the recommendation we have is to adopt the reimbursement on a one-time basis with an express finding that this decision does not establish precedent and that future requests will be denied if not compliant with policy. We also have an option here that allows to deny reimbursement on the basis that expenses were unauthorized and inconsistent with the district policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Sid, would you like to present it?
I'm gonna just say a few things. Back in Wednesday, July 23rd, there was a request from me to Tracy for a expense reimbursement form, and she CC'd Clemens, so that was quite a while back in July, and it wasn't said to me, oh, you can't do this, don't go. So that was his first notice that he could have stopped me, and I didn't see that, so I mean, nobody said anything. Secondly, then there was a few other things I had done prior to that. As you all know, or maybe you don't, you're new. I put together a packet for an award. And it was due May 1st, but I asked permission to do it back at one of our March meetings. So I had, of course, anticipated going to this convention because I put in for the award. And that was, I think I gave it to you there. Did you see? It was for the, see here.
It's this here.
Thank you. I might have given out all the ones I brought. This one is for the exceptional public outreach and advocacy for large and small districts. And that was dated February 28th is when I printed it out off my computer for the May 1st deadline. So I did ask permission to submit for that award, and I did get permission to do it as long as I didn't charge the district, which I didn't. And then after I made my CSDA what do you call it? Sorry. when Clemens was on his vacation or else at the Aqua presentation, convention, is when the deadline came up for, this, which was the classes and the, conference deadline to submit your, what do you call it? Sorry. Maybe I'll just read my thing. Anyway, I had made my intentions to attend the annual conference known much earlier this year when I volunteered to apply for the special district awards that are given out at the CSDA Fall Annual Conference meeting, which will be held in Monterey. Spent my own time at no cost to the district to fill out the small district awards application with the April deadline for the community outreach category, with the hopes that we might get recognition. However, we did not. It has been 2 years since the last time I've ever attended any conferences on behalf of our district. And while I do remember that the registration expense was paid in advance by the district credit card, the last time, quite frankly, I didn't remember the rest of the policy, and I did have to submit after the fact some expenses for that trip 2 years ago. So when I saw the deadline was coming up and I wanted to save the district money, and Clemens was out of town, so I met the early bird deadline by charging it on my own American Express card, and I turned that bill in to Tracy on the same day as we won the lawsuit ruling, August 12th. And I included a note requesting that they please could reimburse me before my bill was due on August 28th. However, at the board meeting, just before I left for Monterey, I asked Scott if there was a check for me, and there wasn't. So I still hadn't seen that there was an email that was sent out that they weren't gonna pay for it. That a little phone call or a text saying, don't go and incur more mileage and a hotel would have been nice, but I did not get that. So I checked later when Clemens sent an email saying that he'd already notified me not to go, or I should say that they're not gonna reimburse me. And that was the day after our board meeting in August, and that was on a Friday. I didn't check my email the day after our board meeting, and so I drove down there. So that now I'm out $1,900. So I'm requesting reimbursement because I'm on Social Security and I get $3,066 per month, and $1,900 is a big chunk of that amount to have to eat. So I didn't do anything that I would say was nefarious. I maybe mistaken the rules, and I don't know, maybe you guys filled out forms in advance, but I never did it the first time I went either. You just verbally told me I could have Tracy book the thing, and so this time I just went and booked it myself. That was my mistake. I won't do that again. I've learned my lesson. I'm chastised, and I would certainly hope that you guys would vote to reimburse me, because I really need the money. It'll be a very big hardship if I don't get reimbursed.
Thank you.
If you want me to leave, I will.
I think
Well,
you're required to.
You're just
Oh,
I
required
know,
by law.
I'm saying, I'm getting up. It takes me a minute to get up.
No worries.
Well, the point is the difference between want you to leave
Yes.
and
Right,
require.
right. Okay, required to leave. Also, I did get the district certificate for taking the leadership class, and they gave us a nice little workbook too, and I'd be happy to share you the information. That's your. Oh, sorry. Go. Call me when you're ready. Thank you. Saw me coming? Okay, so yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, should we start with the board discussion, or should we, I don't see any hands up.
I'd like to hear. So Clemens, what was your recommendation?
Yeah, so thank you. First of all, I want to make it clear that my recommendation is to approve the reimbursement. Just want to clarify a couple of things here. I did not send a reimbursement request, but received a receipt for the conference, and that was on July 22nd. I was not in the office during that time. I received the reimbursement request for more than the conference on August 22nd, and was amended at a later date. I am concerned about Director Young's conversations with district staff. Those should all go through me. All of these requests, all of these conversations for reimbursement, et cetera, should be directed at me and not at district staff. That's against our policies. But I just want to make it clear that I do not have the authorization to sign this paperwork. That's why this is in front of you. I do recommend reimbursement approval.
Thank you. And do we have any comments from the audience before we bring it back to the board? I don't see any hands, so let's just bring it back to the board. Bill, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that you're recommending we approve it, because I was realizing that our job here is to pre-approve expenses. That's what we do. We've got millions of dollars of pre-approval. That's what we're paid for.
That's what the budget
And
is.
so it seemed to me that absent the recommendation of Clemens that this be a one-time exception, I could not possibly imagine approving it. But since you said as a one-time thing, as kind of, human niceness or something like that, I could go with that.
Well,
And Sid does do a lot of work, she did a lot of personal initiative, to go, and I think that was all good intentions for the betterment of the district. And although I'm not thrilled with how it happened at all, but I do think that it would be a real hardship on her, given her circumstances. And I think just to be kind of admonished and having to go through what she's having to go through to defend herself, I think and she says she'll never do it again. I think that's enough price to be paid, and overall goodwill for the board. We want to continue on and work as a team. And I think if there's something like this, that can be a fracture. And you can't, it's hard to mend a broken plate. It's never quite the same. So in the spirit of grace for everyone, I would.
I have a different point of view. We have 31 houses in Seal Cove who are in trouble, and they're in trouble financially through no fault of their own.
Yes, but it has
And-
nothing to do with this,
It
This
has
is a-
everything to do with following what rules and processes and policies that we have on our books. And we're telling the folks in Seal Cove, you have a problem and you have to fix it for yourselves. We're not going to reimburse you. We're not going to underwrite anything. You have come into whether you were aware of the situation through your sales documents or not, that's not our responsibility. And so my perspective is that if we're part of a community, we all follow the same policies, processes, and rules. And so I'm going to vote no, because I believe we have to treat people equally in terms of what our policies and processes and procedures and finances are. So that's my opinion. So let's have a roll call vote.
Director Champion?
And we are.
Maybe a
this is-
motion, sorry.
Need a
Sorry to
motion,
interrupt.
Stevie.
Oh, we need a motion, yeah.
and this is for to approve.
Yeah, we'll approve the reimbursement.
Okay. a motion, I make the motion.
And I'll second.
To approve the reimbursements. And it's reimbursed, and it's seconded by you, Bill.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna vote no.
All right.
And roll call for the other two, please.
Okay, Director Champion,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter,
No.
Director Softkey. Okay. Motion carries 2-1.
Moving right along to the rest of the meeting. Sid, you can come on in. We will move on to reports.
Well, maybe she couldn't hear.
Please come.
Thank you. Wondering when I could pick up a check.
We'll. I'll talk to you more.
It's been quite a bit of delay already, so it'd be great to get one. Thank you.
So, reports, sewer authority mid-coast side. There was a special sewer authority mid-coast side meeting yesterday. It was based on some events that had happened in Seal Cove, and Chair Ruddick called the meeting. No action was taken. We had quite a few speakers from Seal Cove, so you can watch it on YouTube. Mid-Coast Community Council, I haven't been following. CSDA, there's a meeting tomorrow. LAFCO, I did not attend the LAFCO meeting. Attorney's report.
Oh, sorry, President Slater Carter, I have no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Director's reports.
I have one.
Sid?
Yeah, here, you pass that over to Bill for me. I went to the fire board meeting and they passed out their strategic business plan, and it was quite interesting because they listed all the things they had tried to accomplish in 2025, and they really made quite a big list. But some of them they had already completed, it wasn't all 2025, but they have 3 more on the list that are pending. And they're gonna break ground on the new fire station 44 probably by the end of this year. There was a little bit of a delay because something to do with the county permission. And then they are putting a temporary fire station up down near the sheriff's office in Moss Beach where there's a vacant lot. So I found that really interesting. That I think it would be nice if we could have a list like this for our strategic plan and what we've done and accomplished. This other thing, let's see if I can remember the name of it. Community Emergency Services Council had a presentation on Ladris, and that is a AI traffic evacuation software that the county paid a consultant to do, so we could all get evacuated by AI.
Sounds horrible.
I agree, and when I saw the demonstration, they only showed this one little tiny neighborhood in the top of Hillsborough going down to El Camino, and it took 45 minutes to evacuate that neighborhood. And so here's the thing. The coast side needs somebody to research it, and I asked at some meeting, and they said that the person who's doing it is Captain Chichov, who's the sheriff. And so nobody else, no other districts, no other entities like the Coast Community Council or anybody has the Ladris software to kind of work with it.
Is this a time where I can make a technical comment? on
I'm
this whole
happy
thing?
if you do.
Generally, just make it brief.
Yeah, basically in a place which is as environmentally precarious, exposed to winter storms, and has a 2-lane highway everywhere as our only transportation, you have to stay low tech. The very first thing to fail in an emergency is the internet. I've taken CERT training, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a ham radio operator. We need to fail over to walkie-talkies and shortwave. We
Exactly.
cannot trust text, we cannot trust email, and we can certainly not trust AI made by corporations, which are not gonna be there when stuff hits the fan.
Right.
And especially when the power goes out.
So
Oh, yeah.
part of it is controlled by DEM, which is over on 501 Winslow Street in Redwood City.
Anyways,
So
what I'm
they may
saying,
have, they may have
needless
internet.
complexity.
Let's,
I-
thank you for the
So,
report.
and the other
General-
thing, wait, before I go, I have a baby shower, and I mean, baby congratulation cards for one of our employees. And if anybody else wants to sign it, otherwise I'm leaving it for Tracy to mail out to her. It's
That
for
was-
Sonia.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to sign it, let me know. I've got it here.
Okay, general manager's report.
Nothing in addition to the regular report.
Okay, any future agendas? Hearing none, there is no closed session. Let's call the meeting adjourned.
Right.